been more active in kind of communicating with people that like, hey, like if you haven't really thought through your exit plan, you know, like we're here to sit down and talk to you about it. You know, well, we might be able to work a deal out, we might not, but I'm always open to just go sit down and give them it like, hey, like this is how we've done it. This is like this things you need to be thinking about. Like we're here to like at least bounce ideas off you, and if we can come to terms on a deal, then that's great. If not, like no big deal, right?
Welcome to the In the Arena podcast. My name is Jared Miguez, a co-host on this podcast that brings you the inspiring stories of our clients who are leaders and innovators across different industries in Southeast Louisiana. They are visionary entrepreneurs, savvy real estate professionals, media creators, military business owners, and community champions. And we are going to showcase the remarkable achievements and share their personal stories. Tune in for insightful conversations, valuable lessons, and motivational stories that are going to reveal their secrets to success and offer you insights to help you on your own path. Welcome to In the Arena Podcast.
All right, guys, welcome to the In the Arena Podcast. I got one of my long friends, Rob John, here, and we're going to talk about his family's legacy business, J&J Exterminating. You're the one who does the actual jingle on TV, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's me. Yeah,
exactly. Wait. Let me hear it. I need to hear this.
J&J Exterminating.
Yeah.
He's got the deep voice to do it.
No, I mean, our jingles. Yeah, it's honestly something we actually developed the jingle from a local voice talent in Lafayette before we entered this market, right? Before we entered the New Orleans North Shore market, and it fits so well out here.
Yeah.
You know, I can't tell you how many times I get people that stop me, you know, and will sing the jingle back to me, and it's great, you know. So we use it. We probably need to continue to kind of lean into it a little bit more because it's great.
So you can
anything that's catchy.
I literally could say that jingle to anybody in New Orleans, and I guarantee you they'd be able to sing the song.
The yeah at the end is just so New Orleans.
Nails it. Mm-hmm. So we talk a lot about businesses, and this is going to be a good transition and blend and conversation around just telling your story of your family, because it's important in talking about how businesses are able to really scale and grow and what that really means. Right, most businesses that we deal with have the ambition of wanting to create something to pass on to the next generation, or that they're going to build something to sell, and they don't really know what that means. And to have somebody who is operating a third generation business now is going to be a pretty cool conversation. So let's talk about your grandfather and your dad and your story on how y'all got to where you're at and how you started and where y'all are actually at now.
Yeah, so I'll just start off like how we started, right? So our business, J&J Exterminating, was founded in 1959. In Crowley, Louisiana.
Crowley, rice capital of the world.
So rice capital of the world. So my grandfather and his brother founded the company. There was quite an age gap between the two of them. So my grandfather was the youngest of their 10 siblings. Cool. And so my uncle Harry, his older brother, was 17 years older than him. So, Uncle Harry, he was a twin, actually. Harry and Harris, and they both were World War II vets.
Cool.
And they both, flew planes, right? And like my grandfather's like flew as well because like he watched those guys grow up flying. But so they both like Harry flew in the Pacific, Harris flew in the European kind of arena, if you will. And so when he got back from the war, he went to school at LSU to get an entomology degree, with a goal in mind of doing more crop work with all the rice locally in Crowley. So he did that. When he got out of there, he ended up landing in New Orleans and working at a pest control company, B&B Exterminating, an old time group. And over the year, like he worked there a couple of years, right? 3, 4, 5 years, whatever it was. And
this is your uncle.
This is my great uncle, my grandfather's older brother.
Yeah.
And so when he moved, so he'd go back to Crowley on the weekends or whatever, spend time with family. And when he he moved back, and him and my grandfather partnered up and started J&J Exterminating.
Very cool.
That's a really good story.
And so that's kind of how we got started right there in Crowley. And the traditional story that you always hear, like their office was the Breeze house in the back of the property at his mom's house, and they got started, and we've kind of grown it over the years. So I never got to meet my Uncle Harry. He died in 90 from cancer.
And you were born in what, 91?
Born in 89, right?
Okay,
so
right there.
Never got to meet him, but I don't have any memories of him, right? And so we started in Crowley, and then over the years started to grow, right? Yeah. So started in 59 in Crowley. I think we stayed there quite some time. I think in early 60, in the early like 64, 65, there was actually another small local company that we ended up acquiring, and started building a presence there locally in Crowley.
Crowley's not that big of a place. Y'all were just knocking out all the houses in Crowley. Just
it was a lot of like just low hanging fruit, just through like knowing everybody in town, right?
You don't hear a lot about acquisitions in the 60s, so that's really cool.
It was a small acquisition. Honestly, don't even really have a lot of the details of it, right? And so I'm sure it was kind of a handshake deal. And,
probably.
Pretty kind of nothing, maybe not even anything signed, right? But so did that, and then over time grew, right? And so we really started in the southwest part of the state, right? Crowley, moved to Lafayette, Lake Charles, and over the years have been able to open offices throughout Louisiana, right? So we started there. We grew up through Alexandria, Natchitoches, DeRidder Market, and then Shreveport, and then we actually came to this market. Early 2000s.
Okay, so it's one of the later markets that y'all. Yeah, because I mean, I-49 is such a major corridor for Lafayette. Yeah. I-10 too, obviously, but most, being from Alexandria, we traveled up and down I-49 all the time. We do go from Shreveport to Lafayette to do sports and all that kind of stuff. So it's an easy drive to get up and down the interstate right there.
Yeah. So it was the southwest and kind of north, and then this part of the state was kind of our latter. Yeah. One of the markets we entered. On the back end of covering, allowing us to cover the state.
Different types of bugs in New Orleans, right? It's bigger bugs, more bugs.
Yeah, I mean,
that's just that true. I just made that up.
Roaches and rats, you got it.
Well, in terms of termite activity, again from the war, certain invasive species of termite, Formosan termite, was brought into New Orleans area first, right?
Gotcha.
Lake Charles in New Orleans, but mainly through New Orleans.
And that's what hits the state so hard every year.
Yeah, so those big swarms in May is the Formosan termite swarm, which is an invasive species from Taiwan. Yeah, and we brought it over, moving everything, all the equipment back from the war.
Flew them back over here.
Yeah, exactly.
It was great for business.
Yeah.
So as y'all have grown y'all's business and y'all have expanded, you've talked about process of acquiring businesses. So as y'all are making y'all's way through, and now y'all are in the Texas market too. Correct. How are y'all deciding on whether you're going to open a new market by just hiring somebody locally to be a salesperson and kind of be grassroots there, or to come and try to acquire an existing business?
It depends. It depends on the market, right? And it's kind of opportunity based, right? So like when we came into the New Orleans market, right? Rob Kuig, Kuig Environmental. I think he had a law firm too, actually. Maybe, I can't remember. I think his pest control business was maybe before he opened a firm or whatever. But we just had an opportunity, right, through networking, kind of learned that they were looking to exit their business. So, that's kind of what drove us to enter the market at that time in New Orleans. Just recently, we've started to like greenfield locations, right? I guess the first one was actually in Baton Rouge. We greenfielded, and that was in I think 2010-ish.
When you say greenfield, you mean hire a salesperson?
Yeah, just kind of boots on the ground, no acquisition, just start spending advertising dollars in the market, and trying to build a brand and a branch there. Yeah. We've done it in Beaumont recently, and we've been successful. And we also did it in Tyler, Texas. So actually, both of our Texas locations were greenfield. We since had an opportunity on an acquisition in Tyler, which kind of expanded our reach there. Back in 23.
So what's the main value of buying a business? Are you buying the book of business and the contacts, the addresses, and the contracts?
So buying recurring revenue is a big part of the kind of what you're looking at, right? But it's the brand too, right? And it's the people, right? It's the people working there. So each one's real unique. Like one opportunity we had this year was a gentleman that actually used to work for us 20-something years ago. Started his own business. This is local Lafayette area. And then we were able to acquire his business.
Nice.
Brought his team on, and he stayed on too.
Nice.
In a unique role, like moving into like an audit training role.
Gotcha.
Full circle moment.
Full circle moment for him, and he's excited, right? Because he's able to still continue to do it. He's still got a lot of energy and drive to go to work every day. And just taking some of the pressure off of him.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was like
so
showing me
great.
his sleep app. He's like, man, I'm sleeping way better at night.
That's great. We
Different phases of life for sure.
We have had some people come up to us with the same mentality. It's like we just want to work. We don't want to do the operating side of the business anymore, and we'll talk to them about whether it's a good fit for us. But we have a very specific criteria in which we're going to be evaluating them through. Right? We make sure that we have similar value system, and the way they operate their business is similar. They have the same goals and ambitions that we do. To know that we're going to push, to the same direction. At the end of the day, if somebody comes on and partners with us or comes and works for us, they came from another firm and they don't have the same ideas and ambitions and values that we do, it's going to, if we're not going to get where we're going, it's ultimately not going to, all the good things that we're talking about are not going to come to reality unless we do that.
It's like, do we have opportunity to provide their team a better living, more opportunity, like long term?
Yeah.
Right. It's also something we'd always try to look at, right? Like, and then does the ownership stay on or not? It's really just deal dependent,
Yeah.
And if they do stay on, you have to be aligned.
Yeah.
Right.
So how long is the due diligence period for you guys whenever y'all do that kind of stuff?
Oh, it just depends. Couple months here and there. I mean, just a couple months usually.
Yeah.
We can do it sometimes quicker.
Yeah. And is somebody, are y'all usually approaching people? Are y'all in acquisition mode, or are people coming to you guys and saying that, or is it just more of an organic? You meet somebody at a conference and y'all have a conversation.
It's historically been organic. We have been more active in kind of communicating with people that like, hey, like if you haven't really thought through your exit plan, like we're here to sit down and talk to you about it.
Yeah.
Well, we might be able to work a deal out, we might not, but I'm always open to just go sit down and give them it like, hey, like this is how we've done it. This is like, there's things you need to be thinking about. Like, we're here to like at least bounce ideas off you,
Sure.
and if we can come to terms on a deal, then that's great. If not, like no big deal.
Yeah,
right?
no hard feelings.
What's really cool about our industry is like, and I guess this is maybe every industry, but I've been talking to a couple of people recently that aren't as involved in our industry, and they've kind of been really surprised about how open, the folks are, in our industry in terms of sharing.
Yeah.
Right. And so,
Well, I think it's a mindset thing, right?
Yeah.
And people start to gravitate towards one another. And when people are doing well, they're very collaborative.
yeah.
You're not going to find somebody that is closely held and competitive in nature and fearful of competitors in a large-minded group of people.
Yeah.
So I think they naturally separate themselves.
Yeah.
And once you have that level of success that you're having, that's what you realize. It's nothing but relationships.
Yeah.
Whether it's your clients or whether it's your colleagues in your industry, right?
Yeah.
The industry only does better if everybody's being
Everybody's
collaborative.
doing better, right?
Mm-hmm.
How can we just level up as a whole industry,
Correct.
right? But we've done it different ways. Like each kind of deal structure has been different too, you know. But yeah, what are we looking for? Somebody that's trustworthy, right? Like, we don't even want to have a conversation with anybody if we don't like. It's our industry's small too, right? So everybody kind of knows everybody. Like,
Yeah, there's a handful you see on. We see them often when we do real estate transactions, but it's pretty consistent between 4, 5, 6 different businesses that are operating in this area.
yeah. So that's how we got here, right? So it was honestly like in terms of like St. Tammany Parish and like the toe of the boot, if you will, was through actually a series of acquisitions.
Gotcha. And when y'all are like
The toe of the boot. I
Yeah.
like being the toe of the boot.
Yeah. Like y'all salespeople, though, I mean, obviously your collaboration is great, but there's also a competitive edge you have,
Oh
right?
yeah, 100%.
And so as you bring on a new market, like from a what'd you say, greenfield type of a mentality?
Yeah.
Like, how are you incentivizing your salespeople to go out and generate more relationships? And what type of person are you looking for in that role?
Outside sales guy, just an aggressive person, right?
Yeah.
Somebody that doesn't mind going kind of, and somebody that's engaging with the community, right? Like I was actually just talking to one of our guys here locally. he's been in the industry forever.
Yeah.
He's been with us pushing 6-7 years now, and he's competitive. He's like, I wasn't going to let said national brand beat me.
Yeah.
You know, I want the business. I'm going to earn it, right? I'm going
Yeah.
to prove. I was up on the ladder 2 stories high, proving that I, need to get something checked on for this customer to prove that I'm here to support them.
Yeah.
I'm taking their phone calls when, round the clock whenever they need
Now, how
me.
do you calibrate somebody that's going to be like that? Are you bringing somebody in and testing them out, or do you have some sort of system in which you're evaluating
In
them?
terms of training,
Yeah.
through an interview process, but in terms of training them, you can't train a lot of that. I don't know.
Yeah.
For us, like we found people that are either have the drive and want, and then we're training the technical skills, and we're refining sales skills. But it's for us. I don't know. For us, it's been hard to actually train the drive. I
For sure.
I don't think you can.
No.
Yeah, you can't.
And that's on all fronts. Even people a lot of times think, lawyers, they've got to have a drive. They went through law school, but you'll find that some people just school wasn't as difficult for them as other people, and some other people, they almost feel like they made it once they graduated from law school, and
They
they
were
don't
motivated
realize.
by the challenge, and the challenge is
But
over.
it's also the passion
sure.
And then there's the want to serve, right? So that's a little bit different sales kind of mindset in terms of our industry.
Yeah.
We're here, right? Like it's not you sell and then you're out. Like we ask our reps to stay with that customer as long as they need support, right? And so it's a mindset of serving the customer and just being there and just I don't know, like just keep it simple. Let's be honest with them. Let's take care of them. Like here's what we need to do.
Yeah. And we've like the way we talk about that a lot is that we have a value system that we put people through where we ask them specific questions about, what do these 5 values mean to you? How do you align with our values? What are your values? Tell us about a time where you had to do something like that, like, honest, to be in a customer service position. And hopefully we get people to give us an answer that makes us feel like they understand our mentality about how we do business. And then obviously you got to be holding them accountable to the standard that you set too.
I think some of that's for us happened organically. We're trying actually like now to get way more specific in our interview process and like get a little bit more refined with a lot of that. To kind of like, to your point, like be super intentional about like how do we actually walk through this?
And we need to have a coffee then. That's our favorite part. We even use a personality assessment that we know before we even sit down with them how they're going to interview and whether they're right for that position.
Yeah.
If you build out your structure enough, you know who's going to succeed in every role, and you're not going to go put somebody that wants to sit in a corner in a sales position.
Yeah.
Right? Regardless of how the interview went or regardless of their level of skill.
Yeah.
It's kind of
I
setting
like
them up for failure.
Your point about the personality assessment, like we've never really done a lot of this stuff, right? And so we're actually trying to actively interviewing for right now and hopefully making an offer to an individual this week, next week in terms of like a person dedicated. It's, we titled the job people in organizational development. It's kind of HR. We don't want it to be too HR-y, but we want to get real specific on interview process, get it defined, train our frontline managers that are actually conducting a lot of the interviews, like how to get better at doing some of these interview processes. We have turnover. I think it's
any sales job's going to have turnover.
Some of we have some turnover. We also have a lot of tenure on our team. Like driving over here, I was thinking about it, so I called our office and had them run a number. We have like, and this sounds crazy, honestly. I had them double check the number. But we have over 500 years of experience.
Wow.
Across our frontline managers all the way up through, excluding myself, my dad, like excluding some of us, not employees, if you will, or teammates. But so it's 540 years. That's crazy. It's insane, and so.
It's a little bit of experience.
Yeah, and it's great, and I'm going to start sharing that with our team more because that's kind of we don't ever look at it like that, but I was just kind of thinking about it on the drive over, and
it sets a tone and a standard.
It sets a tone and a standard. Like, hey, we have we have a lot of experience, and so where we've always landed is kind of we're not the small 1-2 man operator. We're not a big national company. That's kind of been our niche to kind of be a local regional player in the space, and we have a lot of experience. A lot of that's tenure. That's just tenure with J&J for the most part. Some of these guys were operating in our industry, maybe at a national company or what have you before coming over. So we meet. We try to get these managers together as much as possible to kind of share.
Yeah, because that's the challenge: the expansion, but maintaining the culture.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I when I was at my old house, we had a couple of weeks that were clearing some property around us, and we got a big old rat in our attic, and we got a different pest control company to go out there, not J&J, and he had a really hard time catching the mouse, and it took me like a good 3 or 4 days, and it was like in the middle of the day, whack.
You got him.
I got him.
BB gun or a bat? I mean, what were you working with?
Oh, I had a mousetrap.
Okay.
He was about twice the length of that mousetrap when I pulled him out of the attic. He was a monster.
Big guy. Yeah, so I mean, like...
I live on the water. We get a lot of those.
You get some rest too, right? So I mean, our ideal client, is just somebody that values the service, easy button, let's just take care of it for you. Call us when you need. They're not... like in terms of deferred maintenance on their home, like they're trying to get it done and keep it up and keep it tight. Yeah. So, in terms of like from a termite control perspective, like there's a lot of things the homeowners need to be aware of and do for the system, whether it be a bait or liquid treatment, like for it to also be successful. Yeah. So we want a homeowner that's understands that and sees value and kind of doing their part. For the whole program to work.
So the reason I asked that question is you said you've got 550 years of experience, and how you kind of translate that to talking to your ideal client and speaking to them and saying, we have 550 years of experience, not that we're trying to pat ourselves on the back for being around or doing all these things, but serving you guys and helping you guys be able to operate your life and protect your biggest asset, your house, right? Because most people spend a lot of time and energy in their house, a lot of their money and resources in their house, and they have other things they need to be focusing on and not worrying about whether I've sprayed the right spots or I've got the right treatment or my treatment's actually working. They know that it is, and if it's not working, that there's somebody that's going to come and fix it if it is.
Provide feedback on
on
other conducive conditions that need to be corrected so the program can continue to work better.
For sure.
Right? I mean, that's exactly what we're trying to accomplish, right? Like, hey, here's and that's what we do. Like when we do an inspection, we're sharing with them, hey, here's kind of the conditions that are present that you need to be attentive to. Here's what we're going to do in terms of our service, and then sending them all the documentation to say, hey, like we try to document it every year when we come out there. Hey, don't forget about this condition. Maybe we talked about it when we first came out. It's kind of creeping back up on us.
Yeah, right? Especially I can imagine living in different situations. Like she living on the water, me not living on the water, me living next to the woods or in a neighborhood that's constantly getting developed. So they're always knocking down new trees and clearing new land. All that's going to have an impact on the services you need, I can imagine.
100%. Yeah. And so we're kind of, most of our programs keep a lot of that in mind, right? But we do cater, like in terms of like, how do we need to, what application are we doing, when, how, where, why? It depends on the environment, right? Yeah. Like, are you on the water? Do you have a mosquito issue?
Yes, always.
Always, right? Even right now, right? It's like Thanksgiving and it's still hot.
Oh, yeah. As soon as it's muggy, I walk on my dock and you cast the pool a couple of times and you're like, all right, that 5 minutes was great. Bugs are out.
Going back inside. So you talked about your training programs too. So how have y'all developed those training programs over the year? I'm sure when your grandfather started this in the 50s, he didn't have much of a training program for his people. Yeah. How have you stepped in and developed those things for your team?
It's changed, right? The industry's changed a lot too. We lean a lot on our manufacturer and supplier relationships to because they're always putting together great content and training content. We use that. We've built a lot of it in house. We got a technical director that's pretty much his sole job is to produce content, and he has 2 field trainers that work directly with him in terms of, hey, we trained on this content, let's go do ride-alongs with the team. Are they understanding the content? Are they applying it in the field?
Yeah, sure.
Right.
Are y'all sharing those ride-alongs? I think that's great information y'all could share. That'd be fun on social.
we need to start like actually videoing some of that stuff.
That'd be really fun.
Yeah.
And really interesting to see, the time and the energy and the effort for those that think they could do it on their own. What really goes into it. I think it'd be cool.
We need to do kind of a day in the life of. I need to,
For sure. Maybe that'd be a lot of fun.
All right, lettuce media.
Yeah,
There
you go.
Shaking hands with the residents and showing that y'all are actually out there connecting with people, not just showing up and doing a 5-minute job and then running out of there. I think that'd be
fun.
huge. And you've talked a lot about the structure without actually saying it out loud. Y'all have got directors in different roles. So how are you looking at your organization and kind of moving people and putting people in the right spot? Because it sounds like you've got a pretty elaborate team and divisions and roles and responsibilities.
Yeah, I'll talk a little bit about it. So we have, in terms of sharing our story, we cover all of Louisiana now, right? We have 2 offices in East Texas. We have 15 locations. So how does our organization set up? We have local managers in each one of these markets. Depending on the size of the office, we'll have maybe a couple, we call them branch managers, and we might have a couple service managers underneath them, depending on location size. Each one's kind of unique. Above that group, we have some regional ops managers that have a subset of branches reporting up to them. And then all the support staff, right? So we have a sales coordinator with infield sales trainers, and a counterpart is this technical director with infield service trainers, and then we've actually centralized a good bit of our admin function right in Lafayette. And so we have a hybrid mix of a certain amount of office admin in some branches, and then most of them in our kind of support center in Lafayette.
But so as y'all are scaling and growing, how are y'all developing that to make it improve? I mean, the habit you have now won't get you where you want to be, right? You constantly have to be changing. Are y'all coming together once a year and saying, okay, like we've structured this way, but in order for us to take the next step, we might have to move people around, or are y'all kind of set up to where y'all think y'all can scale and grow a little bit?
Yeah, no, we're always working on it. I think at the branch level, we're always kind of tweaking that, and maybe adding a new manager depending on the size of office, or a lead tech support staff. So locally, each branch is just specific to kind of the market. We've also actually toyed around with the idea of splitting some of those offices up to where we don't have such a large office, right? And then we can have like 2 sets of management, effectively geographical split of an office, right? Above that, this people and organizational development role that we're on board, and that's a net new role for us. So trying to really start to figure out that next layer, call it above the branch, on what positions do we really need to continue to scale.
Yeah, because those people are not necessarily in business. Business generating roles, right? They're not dollar producing.
They're not
roles.
a production role.
Yeah. So
but how do they increase productivity?
Yes,
exactly.
Right. It doesn't mean that they're not going to add to the scalability, but
or just
have to be
allow
effective
us
at
to
it.
bring in better talent, allow us to get better at, I think one of the big kind of easier one, and it's not easy, but obvious ones for us, with this new role that I'm excited about and anxious to kind of get, a candidate onboarded. So we're close, but just learning how to interview better, right? It's because sometimes the nature of it, if we do have turnover and we were reacting to it, so how can we be proactive there?
Have people on the bench.
Have people start building the bench. It's kind of like an obvious thing, right? But we're trying to operationalize that a little bit more in our organization.
It seems simple, but it's not in the operation of business, right? You have a need and you want to fill it, and you want to fill it fast, and something comes across your plate.
Yeah.
I think good entrepreneurs, they see opportunity everywhere. And so sometimes that's a pitfall, right? Because you're able to convince yourself that it's a good opportunity, even if it might not be.
Yeah.
And so a good interview process, to me, slows you down a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, and we just, we have a lot of people interviewing, right? It's not like we're doing it at one location. So it's a train the trainer kind of approach, right? But so with this role specifically is a good one. But we're trying to figure out, what does that look like? We, historically, our organization has just really kind of been heads down, let's go to work.
Yeah.
And so we're adjusting to that, right? So we're implementing EOS. We started in April of this year, and so
how's that going?
It's going. It's good. Our team loves it. We're adjusting still, but it's been great.
Have y'all passed it beyond the leadership level?
Not yet. I think next year we'll start tackling that. But
so how often are y'all having y'all's L10s?
we're doing them weekly. Yeah, meeting weekly.
Just and you have your meeting with the director level, and then they're going on and having their meetings with their level.
Yeah.
Are they doing the meetings?
We haven't even started the meetings outside of this
the leadership
group.
Okay,
Yeah,
very
leadership
cool.
level. So
And
but that this year has allowed us. We got an implementer that's helping us. That's kind of coaching us through a lot of this stuff, right? And so I think that's helped.
that's
us kind of pick our head up and actually start getting 3-5 years out and having a conversation about it.
Yeah.
So
It also helps you hold the team accountable to the weekly and monthly and quarterly objectives that you have, right? I mean, the biggest tool that we use is our meeting and quarterly agendas that allows us to have an outlook on the bigger picture of the year, but also what do we need to do right now in order to get where we're going outside of our daily button pushing tasks we have, right? What are your main things you need to accomplish this quarter so that when next quarter rolls around, we're ready to take another step towards our goal.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, most of us are not just thinking about, like, how can we do the deals that we have right now? How do we service the homes we have now? We want to take the next – everybody needs an opportunity to grow, right? And the owners of the company can constantly be trying to make the world bigger ourselves, which we're only limited to the amount of impact we can make. But if everybody's thinking that way and everybody wants to grow the organization because we're being intentional about talking about it at the weekly meetings, that's how we continue to give opportunity for our team.
Yeah.
The group momentum.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. Like in terms of like, last couple of years we've had decent growth years, and like we're trying to drive and push. Let's continue that, right? Because that's what's going to create the opportunity for the team. Right? You don't have any growth, it's hard to start creating much more opportunity in a stagnant business.
100%.
Right?
Yep. You're giving away more of what you've worked hard to make as an owner of the company, and if everybody wants to have a little bit extra, then we all need to be moving to make a little extra available for everybody. Yep. That's the fun part of business. When everybody gets that, and I think that's part of an operating system, right? Whether it's EOS or anything else, it allows you to give people the understanding of where you're at as an organization, help be a part of setting the goal, and then all of them being aware of where you're at every quarter of how close you are to getting to the goal.
The forecasting.
Yeah. And the beauty of it is if you're doing it the right way and people are looking at everything every week, they can say, okay, I understand whether I'm getting a bonus or not because I know whether we hit our goal this year. Right?
Yeah, we're heading in the right direction.
We're all heading in the right direction. And everybody gets excited about it, but they also can get motivated by we need to push a little harder right now, or we need to make sure that we're doing this a little differently. And then the whole issue spotting activity too, which has been a game changer for us because our staff comes to us with issues that we're creating for our team. Most of the time it's me causing the problems, but they're constantly giving us feedback on our process so we can keep getting better. And it's not just us having to constantly be looking at the system. They're touching it every day. So they're really allowing us to grow because we talk about what are the issues that you have every week. And it's in a systematic way, right? That's the beauty of EOS is it gives you a basic system to operate within. Now, once you kind of get the system down and you realize my business is a little different than everybody else's business because it is and naturally going to be that way, how do we shift away from EOS and start utilizing things that we know is best for us, not necessarily what EOS has said was best for us? So,
we're starting to tweak it. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to kind of move it through the organization more, and we're going to tackle that next year. So
one of the, and I'll just kind of give you a little forewarning, and we kind of touched on it a little bit, is that culture, making sure that the culture stays as you move farther from the center, like solidifying with your leadership team that they understand what the culture actually is, right? Because, I mean, they can follow your lead and then they show up at the meetings following your lead. But once you give them the ability to lead their own, obviously they're going to have their own way of doing it. So you don't want everybody to be, a robot. But you also need to make sure that they understand what the basic standards are of the organization and how you communicate with the people and make sure they're on the same page. And so when they turn around and do those activities with their people within their downline, that they're actually upholding the standard and culture that you've set.
Yeah, I think it just this constant refinement on that too, right?
It is. People are people.
And we've been blessed with a lot of our folks in our leadership and managerial roles have been with us a while. So like some of that's and maybe that's sometimes a downfall too, in terms of just it's kind of a lot of unspoken kind of cultural norms on how we want to accomplish things, how we think through things, and so sometimes because we assume they know it because they've been with us a while, we're not maybe communicated as clearly every time, but we're constantly working on it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's.
I can't think of. I think it's the best way you can do it is to have people that are your part of your leadership to see how you establish as your leadership mentality, and then let them go after that, because you'll know based on how they react to you. Generally speaking, how they're going to react whenever they turn around and be leading other people. Yeah. But you have to inspect what you expect. I mean, that's a big thing for us. Is like we're constantly having to go back and make sure that
the system's got to be in place.
Making sure that they're operating it the way that you intended to be operated. And sometimes you can say things a million times, and the way that you say it doesn't necessarily resonate with somebody, and you type it on a sheet of paper and like, oh, that's what I meant. So everybody thinks differently.
The inspect what you expect is, that's kind of living and breathing in our organization, right? We say it all the time, and it's kind of fitting for our industry as we're focused on inspecting structures and and looking for deficiencies. So we're always challenging our team with that. But
good for you, because I run really fast, and I like to say this is what to do, and then go that way, and then forget to come back and like make sure that they understood what I said.
No, we're always working to improve the system, the feedback loop on how to make sure we're actually circling back. And that I was talking with some of our folks maybe a week ago about exactly that for some of our field trainers. Like, how can we really set some KPIs around those guys when they're working with a technician in a certain market, and when they're coming back, right? How can we get it on paper that there was improvement, right? There's obviously improvement, right? How do we put numbers to it? So
I did recently. We were having. Or I saw that my leaders were having an issue with that, and they would have like gut reactions to how somebody's performing, but didn't have specifics. So I wound up creating a scale based on our values and our standards. Because if you can say these are our standards, these are our values, but sometimes you need the questions to see if they're actually fulfilling them. So it was almost like a grading scale. And people like that. They want direct feedback. It's like kids, whether they know it or not, they want structure.
Yeah.
Right? They want to be able to move freely in doing their job, but they want the structure. And the personality assessments come into play with that as well, because everyone's motivated differently. Mm-hmm. So you can say you have to go inspect them, but how you approach that inspection matters with how happy they're going to be in the organization.
Yeah, we did Colby A. I don't know if that's one I use. But it was great. It was eye-opening when we did it across our leadership group.
There's so many options, and they're all helpful, because leadership is self-awareness and service. So
exactly.
It doesn't matter which test you start with, how many you do in your life. If you're focusing on you're going to have a better organization.
Yeah. So we're gonna try to start integrating that more in the interview process. So
I would. The DISC is a good tool for the interview process, because you don't really know anybody. You don't know who you're getting. And so a DISC is like a quick kind of understanding of just like how they operate and how they think and how they like to be communicated with. So we found that to be a great tool to get somebody in the door. And then, you can kind of get frustrated with people for certain reasons based on your assessment or theirs. And you can kind of figure why they're pushing your buttons or you're pushing theirs based on just naturally how they like to react.
How they're wired,
yeah, for sure.
I have very sensitive buttons, so I had to figure out why mine were always being pushed.
Mm-hmm. Same. So, but before we sign off, I want to just talk about St. Tammany and what y'all's goals are here, because I know that you're here, you were in St. Tammany, but y'all are all across the state in Texas. You got a sales manager here. Are y'all looking to grow technicians? Are you looking to get new households? What are y'all looking to do?
Yeah, I mean, we're having a great year in this market. We're going to continue to grow our location here, and that's just through like getting more opportunities to serve more residential or commercial clients, right?
Yeah.
So for our business, we have a good mix of both residential, commercial clients, large scale commercial, hospital systems, all the way down to smaller, easier like retail shops that don't maybe have as much pest pressure. Or
pest pressure. It's a new phrase for me.
Or risk around having to have audited logs, what have you.
Sure.
So in terms of on the commercial side, we're always looking to grow. And in the residential side, I mean, that's kind of where we started, right? It was more of a residentially focused company. And then over the years, our commercial side of our business has grown.
Yeah. So somebody came to us after this podcast and was like, I want them to buy my pest control business in St. Tammany Parish. You'd be open to that?
Yeah, and if there's any, I mean, in terms of any M&A or acquisition opportunities, I'm always open to just go sit down and visit with whoever would want to talk through that. Whether we are able to work through a transaction or if it's somebody else, I'll always it's got to be the right fit, but I'm always open to have any conversation with anybody.
We awesome. Our business, for our business side of our practice, has picked up a lot of M&A work lately, and that's our favorite thing to do. So we'll be happy to connect the dots and help you out with that. Yeah, no, we love it. I mean, that's an exciting part of kind of and I'd like to be able to spend even more time doing it personally. It's fun. It's different, but when we're able to work through an acquisition opportunity, the due diligence stuff, it's just exciting. Yeah, it's exciting for everybody, I'm sure.
It's exciting for everybody, and just building those relationships is a big part of it too. So
very cool.
Met a lot of great guys, and a lot of them have been able to stay on.
Yeah.
So
very cool.
Nice.
Well, now that we're finished with the interview and conversation, we can turn it off and talk about college stuff more, but we'll leave that off the cameras.
Okay. I want to know all the juice, all the details. Blackmail Jared.
Yep. Appreciate you coming on, buddy.
That was fun, man.
Yeah. Thanks.
Appreciate it.